This is Jerry Beck from CartoonBrew.com, and we're watching Oswald the Lucky Rabbit in The Fox Chase. This is one of the later Oswald cartoons, one of the last ones before Disney left the series to do Mickey Mouse. This is one of the ones that was in production while Ub Iwerks and Walt Disney were secretly working on Plane Crazy in the back room. This film, of course, was released while Disney was looking for a distributor for Mickey Mouse, and he was having a hard time doing it. I think his own success with Oswald might have been part of the reason. These cartoons were very, very good, and they were distributed by a major distributor, Universal. And here was Disney the Independent coming out trying to sell a new series of cartoons with a similar character. I mean, similar in character design, and his personality was a little bit similar to the early Mickey. And it's really, obviously there's a little bit of a difference in the drawing style. They made Mickey's ears round, of course, and he didn't have the little cotton tail. He had a long tail. But at that time, the distributors did not really see much of a difference between these high-quality cartoons and this new series of Mickey Mouse cartoons. It was more of the same. It was a high quality, but it wasn't anything special. And I think that's why the addition of sound, the synchronized sound of Steamboat Willie, is what put Mickey Mouse over the top. Now, this scene with the dogs trying to jump over the brick wall, this was animated by Friz Freleng, who came out from Kansas City to work with Walt Disney, and this was his first big job in animation. Of course, Friz didn't exactly get along with Walt, didn't quite work out, and he ended up joining Harmon and Ising over at Leon Schlesinger Productions for their Looney Tunes. Now, this scene of Oswald on the ladder is animated by Hugh Harmon. Now, Harmon's future partner, Rudy Ising, was also one of the people who came out with Disney from Kansas City and worked on the Alice cartoons, but Rudy Ising did not work on the Oswald the Lucky Rabbit cartoons. One of his jobs at Disney in California on the Alice films was being a cameraman, and unfortunately, Rudy was so bored by doing this that he would fall asleep all the time and basically got fired for sleeping on the job. The Fox Chase is an interesting cartoon because it would be remade later by Disney as The Fox Hunt in 1931, one of the silly symphonies, and it would actually be used as the basis of a story for a Donald and Goofy cartoon in 1938, also called The Fox Hunt. They're not that similar as films. All the films have a similar end gag, which involves a skunk. That was just a great way, I guess, they figured to end the cartoon. But each of those skunk gags from this cartoon and the Fox Hunt in 31 and the Fox Hunt in 38 have a different variant of that idea. Now, you'll notice, of course, that this print of the film, it's got lines and dirt. And, a lot of the Oswalds are lost. They weren't kept. They weren't preserved. Luckily for us, a few of these films were distributed as home movies back in the late 20s. 16 millimeter was the equivalent of today's DVD, and people would have 16 millimeter movie projectors in their home, and companies would make 16 millimeter copies of their cartoons for sale. And I believe that's how this cartoon exists and why it's still here. So if you see an occasional hair or something on this screen, we're lucky to see this film at all. The Oswald cartoons were very, very popular, and they actually played at the Colony Theater on Broadway in New York. Colony Theater, of course, is a very important theater in New York, and it was very important to Disney history because it was the theater where Steamboat Willie premiered and really put Mickey Mouse on the map. And Disney also premiered Fantasia at the Colony Theater, although I think it was retitled or renamed the Broadway Theater by 1940. It was just it played an important part in Disney's history. But Universal had kind of a lock on the shorts at the Colony at this time, and so Disney was well known at that theater. Here's that skunk gag. I love how Oswald rolls up the log like a tube of toothpaste to extract him from it. And as they run off into the sunset, we say farewell to Oswald the Lucky Rabbit.